Ladies and gentlemen, you welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinoxe television, live from my headquarters in Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. The black color and reflection on the 4-year armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon are the two things that overwhelmed the 2021 edition of the International Women's Day in Cameroon today, while mothers of the nation resolved to paint the day black. Others went into a reflection on the crisis that has brought untold suffering, pain, sorrow to women across the country who have seen their peers being killed, their husbands killed and tortured, their children also killed and tortured within the framework of the 4-year-long armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And out of the country, Senegalese opposition leader Ousmane Sonko is charged with rape, and he says it is a politically motivated charge, and has called on Senegalese to take to the streets in their numbers, protesting against what he considers as an attack on his personality. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on this edition of the newscast on Equinoxe television, beginning the opacity of Limbe, southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. And there we're going to be talking about a problem that is fast growing, not only in the Republic of Cameroon, but across the world: child trafficking. Some of the children who were subjected to this illegal practice have been brought back to the normal living conditions by authorities in the southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. They were subjected to child trafficking by some individuals who abused their rights. Details in this report by Smanjik and Gabriel.
From the first view, one will think it is a feast organized for children at the premises of the Brigade in Limbe 1 subdivision. But it is not the case. These are children that were taken from Bafakabalwe in Jan division of the southwest region to Dokiat Quarter in Limbe. The children, before leaving their parents, knew that while in Limbe they will have a new lifestyle as they will be sent to school. But unfortunately, they were transformed into laborers. Thanks to the effort of security forces under the command of Vumesia, all 26 kids were picked up alongside the 8 suspects involved in child trafficking. Amongst those arrested, 5 were later liberated, while 3 were kept behind bars. 2 of them women and a man. The women debunked the fact that they were not involved in child trafficking. One of the women says the kids were her sister's children. I came to Limbe with my sister's kids since their parents are in the village. They came here to go to school. I was with my friend in a taxi, and immediately we dropped at Dokiat. They said send them to school. So I left for the village where I got these kids. I walked on foot from my village to Boa Bakundu, where we saw a car for Kumba.
For Boyapak, I pay 14,000. Begin them and not leave the begin their parents and their father, and they give me the begin and say me I bring the voice. Wait for them, they go help them for 7 them for school.
For now, the 3 suspects have been kept behind bars for questioning, while the kids remain within the premises of the Gendarmerie Brigade in Limbe 1 subdivision.
Now we take you to National Road number 5. The section of that highway around the Lala toll gate in the Mongo Division littoral region of Cameroon has become more or less a nightmare to commuters. Vehicles are often queued up around that area because of the difficulty of circulation resulting from the terrible state of the road in that area. Immaculate Fogwe has more.
Vehicles queued up for several hours along the Lala toll gate in Manjo, Mungo Division of the littoral region. Road users blame the traffic jam on the poor state of the National Road number 5.
During
the weekends, circulation is very slow here because of traffic congestion. It is terrible. What do they even do with all the money collected at the toll gate? Even the side where the money is collected is not tarred. What a shame.
Apart from traffic congestion, the poor state of the road has made it prone to accidents.
Accidents are very frequent on this stretch of road because of traffic congestion. A lot of vehicles, while trying to overtake other vehicles, find themselves on the wrong lane, resulting to fatal road accidents.
Another major cause for concern is a problem of balance, which consequently delays transaction.
Sometimes a vehicle will spend more than 20 minutes at the toll gate because of the lack of balance. Working in such a condition is not easy, especially for taxi drivers whose businesses are affected.
Road users are pleading on the government to take into consideration their plight so circulation can be smooth along the Lala toll gate.
Women, notably mothers of the nation, the Republic of Cameroon, decided to paint this edition of the 8th of March celebration of the International Women's Day in black, with regards to the challenges, notably security challenges that the country is facing in the northwest, southwest, far north, and even in the east region of the country, where several women have been killed, their husbands and children killed and tortured or arbitrarily arrested, according to some legal minds in the country, and they are pressing for solutions to the Anglophone crisis, mounting pressure on the administration to find solutions to the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, but also the Boko Haram problem in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon. In the meantime, women in Limbe in the southwest region of the country said the fact that celebrations could not take place this year, as it is often the case as a result of the coronavirus, gave room for reflection, deep reflection on the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, in particular a crisis that is affecting women in many ways. Details in this report by Davidson Maimo.
Monday, 8th of March 2021, Community Field Limbe, International Women's Day celebrations ground in Fako Division, Southwest Region. No Women's Day kaba could be sported. Same as the National Youth Day celebrations, the Cameroon government cancelled International Women's Day celebration as a measure to contain the spread of coronavirus.
As a woman, I think it is a very good decision, because first, on 11th of February, children didn't march. Why should we go marching?
It is for our health reasons. Okay, they will thank the government for that.
They've saved us some money, because you go out and spend when you don't even have the money.
Some women opine the strategy used by the government against COVID-19 is really confusing, citing other crowd-pulling activities ongoing.
We go into churches, we are in the crowd. In the markets, we are in the crowd. And in other places, we drinking parlors, nightclubs. So it's a whole paradox.
This, some say, is an interference to the right of women.
I don't know why women have been stripped off this great day of joy. In other places, women are enjoying.
Nonetheless, some welcome the cancellation, linking it to the ongoing Anglophone crisis.
I for one, the women is not even going again. It doesn't even make sense again because some people cannot be suffering in the south and in others why some are enjoying the other regions. So.
Honestly, because we are in pain. The whole of the northwest and south we're in pain. Problems. If it does not hit your family, it has hit your friend or your neighbor or something. So actually, it doesn't make sense.
Others say the government might have cancelled the celebrations, coupled with the fact it is a ghost town day in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon. But as women, they must celebrate within their neighborhood.
Doesn't mean that I will not sit here and take a drink. And with my sister, that we should share, but not go dancing.
We just end in the cartel level now. Sit with friends, take one or two something, and move on.
Meanwhile,
women in Limbe speaking to our correspondent Davidson Maimon, the celebration this year is different as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, and the coronavirus, of course, is still there despite the fact that many Cameroonians are no longer respecting the anti-COVID-19 measures, and the authorities are calling on all living on the Cameroonian territory to strictly respect all the measures that the government has put in place and the WHO to stem the spread of that virus, which is already in its second phase, a phase proving to be quite more deadly and more disturbing than the first phase. And now we come back to a recent statement by the Prime Minister of the Republic of Cameroon, Chief Dr. Joseph Diangote, who is urging Cameroonians to respect all the measures that the government has put in place to stop the spread of this virus. Take a listen.
Particularly insist on the imperative need to rigorously respect the limit of 50 persons as well as safety measures during meetings, ceremonies, events, and other official or private celebrations, especially when these meetings take place in closed spaces in order to avoid the emergence of clusters. We must not lose sight of the fact that each individual protects himself and protects others. With a view to strengthening our prevention mechanism, the government, on the instructions of the head of state, has taken steps with partner organizations to acquire vaccines against COVID-19. More than 1 million doses of the vaccine will be available in the very near future. Once these vaccines become available, a vaccination plan shall be set up and vaccination shall be voluntary. I would like to note that although vaccination is voluntary and not compulsory, the government encourages all Cameroonians to be vaccinated when the time comes in order to acquire the immunity that will enable our community to protect itself against COVID-19 for it.
The power tussle between the Wuri prefect and the littoral regional delegate of basic education on one hand and the mayor of the Douala 1 council area on the other hand ends, and primary or better still nursery schools within the sub-region go operational again. The schools had been shut down on the instructions of the mayor of the Douala 1 subdivision, and the schools have reopened their doors. Details in this report by Fomi Armstrong Sanda.
After a prefectorial order revoking the decision of the mayor of the Douala 1 council to close council-run schools within his municipality, learners are back to school. At the community-run nursery and primary school Daido, parents could be seen as early as 7 a.m. queuing in with their kids, though very undecided on if it was a good decision to close or open schools.
On s'attendait à ce que les enfants fréquentent normalement, mais si c'est pour une bonne cause qu'on a dû arrêter.
We wanted our kids to study unperturbed, but if the school was closed for a good reason, who then are we to contest?
Ben, je sais pas, qui suis-je?
Happy to bring back their kids to school and at the same time afraid of a possible risk.
Si, j'ai quand même peur.
Yes. We are honestly afraid. COVID is real and children are mainly carriers. We are afraid that they can get contaminated and later bring the disease to their parents.
La maladie ne se manifeste pas vite chez eux, par contre chez les parents.
Some parents say they were afraid of a permanent lockdown of the school throughout the COVID-19 period.
Oui, j'ai eu cette peur.
Yes. I was afraid that the school was closed permanently. However, when I learned that the school was reopened, I became so happy.
Merci.
Other parents on their part are more concerned with the financial loss of parents if schools were to be closed down permanently, like the case of 2020.
Out of Cameroon, a judge in Senegal has charged opposition leader Ousmane Sonko with rape and released him on bail after days of deadly protests sparked by his arrest last week. 46-year-old Ousmane Sonko is accused of assaulting a woman who worked in a beauty salon, and he says the case is politically motivated to stop him running again in elections in 2024. Demonstrators scuffled with security forces outside the court in the capital Dakar before the hearing today. Police have deployed armored cars in the wake of Senegal or several days of clashes in which at least 8 people were killed, and of course that is happening in Senegal. And among the 8 people who were killed is a teenager in the southern town of Diaoubé, and this is the most serious violence Senegal has been seen for several years. Ousmane Sonko is a popular politician among young Senegalese and an opposition collective known as the Movement for the Defense of Democracy, and he has called for 3 days of mass protest starting today. Now out of Cameroon, we talk about South Africa's business tycoon and role model Patrice Motsepe, who is now the lone candidate standing for the post of president of the Confederation of African Football. Few days to the CAF election in Rabat, Morocco on March 12, the other 3 candidates have given up, and Patrice Motsepe is now the lone candidate running for that position. Details with Equinoxe.
Top South African businessman Soweto-born Patrice Motsepe is believed to be a veritable source of inspiration to young South Africans who look at him as their role model. He is seen as one whose hands turn sand into gold, a reward of his unlimited generosity. The business magnate, political figure and football promoter today sees his aspiration to become president of the Confederation of African Football come true. As at now, Patrice Motsepe has emerged as the favorite for the impending CAF presidential election. The Mamelodi Sundowns owner now gets a promised support from the Senegalese candidate Augustin Senghor, who withdrew from the race. Ivorian Jacques Anouma is known to have also announced his withdrawal. Mauritania Football Federation President Ahmed Yahya will follow suit as part of a deal brokered by FIFA President Gianni Infantino. According to information released by Times Live, the pre-CAF president Patrice Motsepe has been assured by Senghor and Yahya they will serve as his vice presidents, while Anouma is set to be his advisor once he is projected the 8th CAF president on March 12 at the elective congress in Rabat, Morocco, as he is now unopposed. The South African role model is moving into the CAF presidency with a 10-point action plan to change the quality of African soccer. When launching his campaign manifesto for the CAF presidency recently, Patrice Motsepe said football must be run as a professional business, and therefore the continent's football controlling body needs to familiarize itself with the cornerstones of sound corporate governance practices. He believes the core tenets of sound governance includes responsibility, accountability, transparency and fairness, and that sound corporate governance therefore provides one of the pillars for the on-field sporting success. Patrice Motsepe thus debunks lack of football infrastructures on the continent, insufficient sponsorships, and others to be main factors impeding growth of African football. Thus, to him, corruption and incompetent administrators are to be blamed. Being a clear example of his personal life, his good managerial skills made his mining business prosper, with him becoming the first South African billionaire. Same good managerial skills made his football team, Mamelodi Sundowns, to become outstanding and famous in the continent with the several championship and league trophies it has snatched from super teams in Africa. Some persons understand withdrawal of other candidates to support Motsepe's candidacy for the CAF presidency stems from these clearly visible and practical achievements of the CAF presidential hopeful. No wonder many often say action speaks louder than words.
Look, Minister, listen to...
And that's it for the first part of this newscast. Talking Point is up next. Way or the other, they are sources of inspiration to many women, the young and the old. They have braved and they are still braving several challenges and stereotypes to rise in politics and in the civil society. We're going to share their story today. I begin with you, Ba Akwen Nadie, politician, member of the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr. Babila. It's a pleasure having me at this very prestigious platform. I want to greet all the women in the world to tell them that women are fast taking leadership positions in the world. So I think that women who are able to pave themselves, who are able to distinguish themselves worldwide with the likes of the newly appointed Director General of WTHO,
the World Trade Organization.
Yes, it's a pleasure to know that women are fast taking leadership positions in the world.
Women are fast taking leadership positions in the world. And joining us from Munich in Germany is Mirabel Sonki Ewane. She's a civil society leader, founder of the Network for Solidarity, Hope and Empowerment. Thank you for joining us today.
Good evening, Mr. Babila, and thanks for inviting me another time on your platform.
How did you become a civil society leader?
Becoming a civil society leader was not that easy, but you need to see a problem and be able to find a solution. So there was a problem. That's what happened, and I thought there's a solution. So that's how I got into what I'm doing now, to be a civil society leader on behalf of the Network of Solidarity, Hope and Empowerment, Cameroon.
Is it easy to start? The first step, how was it?
Oh, it was so difficult. It was not an easy ride. It was not an easy ride, especially in terms of administration. I think I will tell you for free that it took me over 10 years to finally have the requisite authorization, based on the fact that I'm not based home. So every time I was home, you always come for a short stay. You come for a month or so. The administrative hurdles were not easy. So making it in such a way that you get so disappointed and you just want to leave it. So that's it. And then at the end of the day, the Network for Solidarity, Hope and Empowerment had legal recognition in 2019.
Politics, Nadi, is a very slippery domain. It's an area where, especially in Cameroon and other African countries, where there are lots of challenges. How did you get into this very difficult and male-dominated area?
Well, Mr. Babila, it's true that politics and women is not really that easy in Africa, because in the world and in other European countries, if I may say, they have already braved that archaic mentality that women are only good for the kitchen or for the maternity. But being a woman in politics is not really easy, because we face a lot of challenges. It is not really easy to get, along with these men who always try to depress you, who always try to ridicule you, who always try to look at you as if you were not their own level, or you are not good for politics. Like today, I was on a plateau with a male.
How did you get the idea? How did it start? The urge to get into politics?
Well, my getting into politics was like, something that just happened randomly, because I worked with my president for the presidential elections as his strategist, and that was how I got into politics. But the love for politics has always been in me since I was in school, because the representativeness of women in politics in Cameroon as a whole is really minute, and the quota they give to women in things like positions is really minute. So I decided to brave all that barrier to tell the world that women in Cameroon can also get into politics and change situations.
All right, you were translating documents.
Yes.
For the president of your party,
of course,
Honorable Cabral Libi.
Sure.
You were his translator, and you were translating political documents,
yeah,
and reading through, probably getting inspired by some of the ideas that you were reading and translating.
Yes, Mr. Babila, there is a saying that says, if you do not do politics, politics will do you. And we do politics every day. So when I started translating these documents of my president, there were some things that really attracted me to this, because everything in the world is being controlled by politicians, if you may say, and the political sphere of Cameroon, it's a kind of one that is really poisons. So I decided to get into politics to cleanse that politics, and try to remove that mentality that politicians are not really clean, or they are not truthful. So that's why that was my urge factor to be able to get involved into politics, to be able to do politics in a different way.
Yeah, the general idea is that politics is a dirty game.
That's it.
Politics is a game of liars. Politics is a game of people who make false promises.
Sure. The tendency is that politicians always work for their stomachs. But I want to cleanse that. We are supposed to, bring an era of politicians that are more interested in the demands of their population. So that is why I get into politics. It is not like I got into politics to fulfill, that kind of desire to be at the top. I got into politics to help those who are voiceless, to help the women there who cannot express themselves freely. So that is why I really got into politics.
That's why you got into politics. Now, Mirabel, you are in the civil society. What are some of the obstacles that stood right before you, threatening to hinder you from getting to this domain and doing exploits?
The challenges, as I earlier said, were the administrative procedures. It was not easy. Sometimes you ask yourself, you want to help your community, and you see the need of doing this thing, but the administrative hurdles, like I told you, it took over 10 years, because coming to Cameroon and staying for 1 month, it's not time enough for you to, to carry out all your administrative, to carry out the administrative things. You have a lot of hurdles that, you can't even say. And then also there's some kind of disdain for a woman. What do you think you're coming to do? Do you think you're going to change the world? You are just a woman. This is some of the things you heard. However, we had some support from some people you least expect. So it has never been that easy to, to succeed. It's not only an issue of Cameroon, it's an issue, it's a global thing. You might think that I live in the diaspora. There's still this challenge with the, with a lot of stereotypes. Being a woman, there's a lot, not only in the African society, but in the diaspora, it has not been easy. It has not been easy to be able to, because as I say, the things you see out there, which you think they can fit in your community, that's how you have to carry it back there, And for me, it's that strong desire to make it, and which was enabled by the education, because I tried, I left Cameroon with a degree in law, but that was not sufficient. that was not sufficient to make it. There was so much you had to integrate in the European society. It's not because you know, like you have other things. You are black, you have the racism, you have the sexism. There was a lot of challenges that you had to overcome. And this was, you know, like as I say, you know, like every society comes with their own problems. So you have to try to, you know, like overcome them by starting to have that desire to break all the barriers. So that's how, you know, like that's how things went on, and you know, like I was able to get there.
Those negative perceptions and statements like you're just a woman, what do you think you can do? Can you change the world? There is already an established order and you will not be able to change it. Those negative perceptions and statements came from who? The men, the women, authorities?
From the men, from the women, from authorities as well. You know, like it's something, you know, like this. I just want to say this. It's socially constructed. Even your peers look at you as like, oh, what does she think she's doing? Is she going to change it? We live in a society, you know, like we live in a society where you have opportunities. Sometimes we as parents, you know, I want to say maybe I failed, but I will not let my daughter to fail because she was born there and raised there. And I have to tell her, you know, you have the yam, you have the knife, you have to cut it the way you want it. Because if you let other people to cut it for you, they will not give you what you want. They will choose what they want for you. So don't do that. Take the yam, hold the knife and shape it the way you want. I was talking the other day with some ladies. I told them, you know, it's rather unfortunate that we are so complex. We are so complex that we don't want to get out of that cage that we've been caged. Because for me, it's some kind of, imagine somebody, I remember some December ago, I was in Cameroon and I was at the graduation of Siantu. And there's the guy who was making the speech. He's telling his colleagues, his classmates who are graduating, that they should go and get married. And I screamed, and I'm like, excuse me? So they got degrees to go and become housewives? This is stupid. For me, it's like, you know, any woman who want to think that because, you know, you have to be married to be something, and then you need a rethink of what you really want. Is that the purpose you were born for? No. You are a mother, you are a wife, you are a sister, you are a daughter. You bet that man who is trying to shape your life for you. So you have to be very careful, you know.
These challenges are strong in the diaspora as they seem to be in Cameroon and other developing nations of Africa.
Yes, it's the same thing. And I think I just want to say the difference in the diaspora is that there are a lot of opportunities that you have to seize. Unlike in Cameroon, in Africa, there are very limited opportunities. For example, I'll take for example in Europe, if you know, like, if you get an education, you're going to excel. In Cameroon, with the education, sometimes you're still even limited because you are a woman. That's the difference. In Europe, you can do a cleaning job and earn better than somebody who's even, you know, like who's even, you know, like how do I say it, a lecturer in the university. Because you clean on ending hours. Meanwhile, the lecturer has limited hours. It's so complex. So you have to know what you want. You need to know what you want. And that's why I even say, if you want to be a cleaner, do it professionally. Do professional cleaning. So for me, it's like education, be it formal or informal, is very necessary to bridge the gap that we women, we face in every society.
You're going to tell us how you braved those challenges in a short while. Nadia, have you faced, did you face those challenges? Are you facing some of those challenges linked to negative perception of women and some stereotypes?
Yes, Mr. Babila, you know, as a woman, being in the political sphere is not really easy. We face a lot of challenges, like, you know, we have a sexual harassment from men. We have oppression from the men. We have, you know, the women who fight themselves, because I say the reasons why women do not really grow is because they themselves, they are not united. Women fight amongst themselves. That's the only reason. And to boil this down is to tell you that in the political sphere of Cameroon, if I may say, if you're a woman, you must concur to some of the things that these these men bring to you for you to grow. Meanwhile, women have the capacity. At times, at some point, some men will ridicule you, telling you that you were not supposed to be into politics because politics is meant for men. For me, those are archaic beliefs, because women today are doing engineering. Those are jobs that were first of all kept for men, but today women are politicians, women are governors, they are presidents. So I don't know why these men keep oppressing the women, keep stigmatizing women, keep harassing them sexually to be able to to pave their ways. But I want to tell these women not to concur to that, because if you have something in you, if you know you are capable, if you know you have that ability to handle a post, you should go for it. All I tell the women is for you to brave all odds.
Keep your head up.
Sure.
And move straight.
And move
now,
straight.
When you get some of these statements, some of these adverse statements coming to you, how do you respond to them? What's your state of mind?
Well, Mr. Babila, we are all humans and we have blood flowing in our veins. But when at times I get these things, I go into my inner man and I say, what is really wrong with these men? Don't they think that women don't have that capacity? Don't they think that women are able to hold responsible posts in this society? Mr. Babila, let me tell you, even in our cake days, women were the ones who took decisions. If you go to our chiefdoms today, those people they call the Mafo, they were the ones that,
mothers.
Yes, they were the ones that told their husband, do this, and the men go out and do that. So at one point, women were working and their works were not given visibility.
They were working in the background.
Yes, they were working in the background and their works were not given visibility. So I think that women are strong enough, to take part in decisions making. And I know that at one point in life, you might get discouraged because of all what you face, all what you have. At times, men do not want to accompany you. We have financial problems. Like, some of our women who are in the villages who are trying to do agriculture and other works, they do not have financial assistance from these men because they think that you're only good for the kitchen, you're only good for the maternity. So I think that women should be able to brave their way, should be able to break that archaic bundle mentality that women cannot do something that can impact the society positively.
Women, it is often said, can do everything and even better than.
Well, Mr. Babila, I do not want to rely on that statement that says that what a man can do, a woman can do better. I still want that what a man can do, a woman can do as well, so that all of us, we work together. Because at one point, women tend to compete with the men. We are not competing, and we are not trying to complement them. We want to work together to build a country that is working towards an emergence.
I think that's very important there. It's not competition.
We are not competing, because when you start competing, you tend to like fight each other and bring some kind of negative energy into the work. I think that men and women are supposed to sit on a table and do the consultation and work together to build a country that is working towards emergence.
Mirabel, tell us, how did you brave through those challenges that were staring at you right in the face?
Already the issue we have a lot, most of Africans, is that when we get to the West, we don't even know our left or our right. So the first thing was to get educated about rules and procedures, the opportunities that were at hand for me to be able to seize them. I remember one time I went to look for a job. It was so funny because it was a job that needed an advanced level. I had a first degree, and I was told I was overqualified for the job. Excuse me, how can somebody be overqualified for a job? I was overqualified not because I had a first degree, but I was overqualified because my face was not what they wanted at their reception. That is it. These are some of the challenges. So later on, I choose to, I choose to open a company on my own because, that's an opportunity. It was a cleaning company. I had to go professional. Opening a cleaning company where I could recruit people. I became an entrepreneur. So these are some of the challenges you face out there. It's just same like in Cameroon today. You go, I've sent a lot of girls and things like that who are qualified and whatsoever to apply for jobs, but they cannot apply because, they are faced with sexual harassment, you have, some indecent proposals, and those who have, those who have values, tend to turn down the job, say, I'd rather stay and don't work than, like accept that. Meanwhile, you have some who accept it for the first time and it becomes a norm. So these are some of the challenges that, like the challenges are the same everywhere. It's not only in Cameroon, the same challenges. The only difference is that you have rules that if you report harassment in the, like in the West, it's taken really seriously. It's not taken for granted, like in, like in our society, where even the women would tell you, I would have given him a story finished. Meanwhile, in the West, it's something which is taken seriously. The director might lose his job. The challenges are so enormous that the same, and then, also being in the West, you by yourself, you have to pay your bills, whether you like it or not. Unlike when you are back home, you have family support. Even if you cannot pay your rent, you can move back to the house, to the family house and things like that. In the West, there's no family house. There's nobody who's going to support you. You're staying with a friend, you have to pay the bills. Women who perceive or see challenges as reasons to give up. I will still tell the women, you have to take charge and do not wait to be given permission anymore. I said earlier on, you have the knife, you have the yam. I will tell you, there's a young girl I empowered in Cameroon with 50,000. That girl today has 2 motorbikes in the street. It's less than 2 years. Quite interesting there. But Nadia, we are rounding up. Women looking at you now, some of them might have tried one thing or the other and it's not working. They tried politics like you, but they are not making it through. What will you tell them?
Well, I want to tell all the women out there who are listening to me this evening that whatever you do, you need to believe in yourself. You need to persist and you need to continue doing what you're doing, because they say in life you cannot sit down and want honey, you must go in search of honey. So that's what I tell women, because even in every institution, women will always face problems, unlike the men. So I always tell them that leadership is being seized and it's not given. So you need to be bold, you need to be confident, and you need to be able to achieve what you want to achieve. If you believe in yourself, persist in your goal, your dreams and your visions will come to reality if you give it a positive energy.
You have to be positive, you have to be bold, you have to be confident and determined. Thanks so much. Ba Akwen Nadi, politician, member of the Cameroon Party for National Reconciliation. Thank you for your time.
What's a pleasure, Mr. Babi.
Mirabel Sonki Ewane, civil society leader, founder of the Network for Solidarity, Hope and Empowerment, who joined us today from Munich in Germany. Thank you for your time. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That will be it for today. Equinoxe comes up next. Stay with us.